Hey, what's up guys, it's Renaldo here. So last week I made a video called The Glorious Collapse of Julius Malema, and it was based on the fact that Afriforum is taking Julius Malema to court, both for criminal injury and also for contempt of court. And we didn't really know exactly what Afriforum was going to ask the court to do until now. Afriforum's Kali Krill has come out and said exactly what they are taking him to court for and what they are going to request from the court. And I'm going to share that information with you now. But before I do, please be sure to smash that like button, share this video far and wide, and don't forget to subscribe. It's absolutely free. It won't cost you anything. All right, let's have a look. Thanks to Marula Media for this article. I did translate it via Google Translate from Afrikaans to English, but if you want a really good source of news, I highly recommend that you use Marula Media. And of course, if you would rather want to read it in English, then you can just use Google Translate and it'll do so on the website. So the headline is Afriforum calls for prison sentence for Malema. Afriforum has filed an application with the High Court in Pretoria after Julius Malema, the leader of the EFF and his party, according to the organization, were found guilty of contempt of court following renewed calls for land occupation. The civil rights organization is asking that Malema and the EFF be found guilty of contempt of court. Afriforum wants the EFF to be fined 500,000 rand, while Malema, according to the application, should be sentenced to 18 months in prison or another appropriate punishment. Now, that is quite steep, and apparently it is based on former law in which similar instances have happened. Now, the legal action is related to a court order that Afriforum obtained against Malema and the EFF in March 2017. The order prohibits them from inciting, encouraging, ordering, or recruiting any person to enter land without the necessary permission of the owner or legal occupier. Afriforum argues that Malema and the EFF continue to make calls for land occupation despite this order. The organization refers, among other things, to a public EFF lecture that Malema delivered at the University of Limpopo in Polokwane on July the 23rd this year. According to Afriforum, during this event, Malema referred to young people who will one day enter and occupy a farm in Stellenbosch. Now, just to give you some clarity, I'm going to show this video to you right now, and then you can see exactly what I'm talking about.
With one house of a white man in a 3,000 hectares of land, one white house, British colonial design house.
Now listen carefully, because what he's about to say is really important to Afriforum's court case, because this is on the EFF's own YouTube channel. This is not doctored. This is live on YouTube when it was aired, and it's on the EFF YouTube channel. And the reason that's important is because if he wants to come and say that the video was doctored, well, it can't be, because it's live. It was a live broadcast and it's still there right now. And of course, usually Julius Malema speaks in the third person. He acts like it's not him saying things, it's other people or people talking about him. And what he's made himself guilty of and what you're about to hear is the fact that he admits that he told people to go and do something that a court has told him not to do, and that if he does it, he can be in contempt of court, which is exactly what Afriforum is now taking him to court for. Listen carefully.
They will never go there. And when I go to Kamnandi, I say to them, we must go and take that land. We must go and occupy that land. We can't live like this.
That's the nail in the coffin for Julius Malema right there. He admitted that he told young people to go and occupy that land. And usually when he was speaking in the third person, he would avoid it. But yeah, he literally, het uit 'n lat vir sy gat gepluk, if you can put it that way. So anyway, now that you have the context, it's really important. Afriforum also points to a post made on the EFF's official X account on April 6, 2025, in which people were encouraged to claim land and occupy places to farm and build houses on it. The court order on which Afriforum's latest application is based was granted in its favor on March 2017 and served on Malema and the EFF. The EFF and Malema have since made several attempts to have the order set aside. The application to the Constitutional Court was dismissed in March 2023, after which an application to the Supreme Court of Appeal in June of the same year also failed. A second attempt to have the order set aside by the Constitutional Court was dismissed in September 2023. Now, that is pretty much it. There was no room for them to appeal it, which means that if he does so again, he can face contempt of court. Now, the reason that all of this is important is because currently Julius Malema is a convicted criminal. He has been found guilty of discharging a firearm in a public space and has been sentenced to a 5-year direct imprisonment. That is what the court ruled, and now he's taking it on appeal. However, now there are 2 other court cases that is opened against him, both by Afriforum. The one, however, I believe has been taken on by the NPA, and that's got to do with the criminal injury in which he alleged that a former principal was doing something to children that he shouldn't have. I'm not going to go into detail there because YouTube censors that. However, what I will say is the fact that this contempt of court is an open and shut case, because you can hear and see Julius Malema being in contempt of court. Not because of somebody else recording him and manipulating the video. It's on the EFF's own YouTube channel. Now, this is just 1 and 2 and 3 of the recent things that is clearly showcasing the downfall of Julius Malema. And I think the biggest thing still to come is going to be the fact of how people have benefited being around Julius Malema. Now, there's been many investigations with tenders, and we all know about Limpopo, we know about VBS, but there's been a recent amount that has come out that is actually quite staggering. People that are either known associates of Julius Malema or former associates of Julius Malema over the last 10 years have benefited to the tune of 2 billion rand in tenders in South Africa. And all of that is still going to come out, hopefully through the Matlanga Commission, or hopefully through another commission that gets established. But ultimately, things aren't looking good for Julius Malema. Firstly, because he has to go and defend himself against a 5-year direct imprisonment sentence, which means that he will immediately lose his seat as a member of parliament. The EFF will crumble. But besides that headache, he's got this contempt of court headache that is a slam dunk, because the video evidence is there. And then also, it's a slam dunk for the criminal injuria, because he did say those things about that principal, and it's there for everybody to see. There's no way to dispute it. And then, of course, the association with Julius Malema and the people close to him, like his former driver and other associates that benefited millions upon billions, 2 billion, more than 2 billion in 10 years. All of this is going to come crashing down on Julius Malema. And it couldn't have happened to a nicer person, because, you know, this is the guy that for the last 16 years has been singing "Kill the Boer, Kill the Farmer," going so far as to actually singing that song outside of a court case where the individual that was murdered, brutally so, was a young white farmer. It's absolutely insane. So well done to Afriforum, and well done to everybody that has kept putting pressure on Julius Malema and the EFF, because they deserve what is coming their way. And also, we can't forget about mainstream media. Mainstream media are the ones that made the EFF as big as what it is today. And the same with Julius Malema. They kept on reporting about this insignificant party that started when Julius Malema was kicked out of the ANC, and they are to blame for what we have today in the EFF and Julius Malema. But at least the party is completely collapsing in on itself. It is now in the single digits again after the 2024 elections, and it doesn't look like it's going to do any better. And of course, Julius Malema, with all of these court cases pending, it's just a matter of time before the EFF crumbles and before Julius Malema is finally being put behind bars where he belongs for the things that he has done. Not because we don't like him or because we don't like what he says, but because of his actions. Well deserved. And that's pretty much all I got to say. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please be sure to smash that like button, share this video far and wide. Don't forget to subscribe. It's absolutely free. It won't cost you anything. However, if you'd like to contribute financially to this channel, you can do so by choosing the $ below and choosing an amount. It'll be appreciated. Or you can support this channel by becoming a member, and you can do so by clicking the join button below. And that's all I got to say. Till later. Cheers and peace out.
You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say I went my massacre. You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say I went my massacre.